Well, let's get bigger. There we go. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you for joining me here for Talk About It Tuesdays on Conversations with Taz. And boy, oh boy, do we have some things to talk about? Hooch. It, I will say, I miss the days of us just commiserating over crazy stories of people talking about utter weirdness. What the crap is all over my? I'll discuss that later. Hey. Hi, my lovely. Glad you could join us tonight. Um, now, I guess we do need to take some time to go back and check in with Mr. Arthur Knight and his shenanigans. It's just been so much going on that I have not followed up now that he's made it back to the United States. But we'll see. Um, Kicking it off strong. Coming from the Kansas City Star, Republicans break ranks to defeat censure 214 to 213. Yeah, the Republicans can't do anything worthwhile for the people, but they're always working to try to censure someone. House Republicans have divided over censure efforts for Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat out of Minnesota. They're always trying to censure this woman, following her remarks regarding Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk's death. Representative Corey Mills opposed Representative Nancy Mace's censure push, sparking allegations of potential vote trading on disciplinary actions. Democrats linked the tabling of Omar's censure to the pausing of an investigation into Mills by the House Ethics Committee. Mills was joined by Republicans Mike Flood, Jeff Hurd, and Tom McClintock. Omar said, "But what I do know for sure is that Charlie Kirk was someone who once said, 'Guns save lives,' after a school shooting," she added. Charlie was someone who was willing to debate and downplay the death of George Floyd at the hands of Minneapolis police, downplay slavery and what Black people have gone through in this country by saying Juneteenth should never exist, which he did. Which he did. Oh yeah, it has been a minute since you've made it on a Tuesday. She's not wrong. Like, Charlie Kirk has said all of these despicable things. Let's not forget how many memes came out of people posting them dressing up like Trayvon Martin, them reenacting the death of George Floyd, them making jokes about Breonna Taylor and Sandra Bland. And it was all freedom of speech, but just repeating the words of Charlie Kirk. And now they want people to lose their jobs. They want people censured. They're saying that this is egregious and this is so horrible. But you're doing this in the name of Charlie Kirk. And you're saying he's not racist. He wasn't divisive. He was unifying. But when we're using his words, you're upset and you're offended. Make it make sense. Mace had introduced a resolution to censure Omar and remove her from committees. The House tabled the measure 214 to 213, reportedly after Democrats offered to drop a censure targeting Mills. Representative Greg Kasar introduced the Mills censure as Republicans pursued the Omar measure. Democrats reported that the move forced a choice, while Republicans argued it undermined a consistent process. Yeah, consistent process of you forcing people to not hold you accountable. What the Republicans are doing right now, and what they've been doing for a while now, closely mirrors what the Christian church does when it comes to forgiveness. Because people always tell, well, forgiveness is for you, it's for the other person. No, it's not. It is most definitely for the other person. Because when you're just blanketly giving forgiveness, when that person hasn't asked for forgiveness, when they haven't repented, when they haven't taken the steps that are outlined in your handy dandy Scott Daddy handbook, you're absolving them from accountability. It is most definitely for them. And they're like, no, because if I'm always thinking about it, that's not, you're confusing dwelling in what happened with giving someone forgiveness. I'm not saying sit there and dwell in it forever. Not saying that. But forgiveness is to be given to people who will repent upon what they did, repeat out loud what they did, and request forgiveness, and then not repeat the action. And that's what the GOP is doing. They are trying to avoid accountability. And what the Democrats did is what they need to do more. You want to censure one of ours? Okay, we'll work on censoring one of yours. You don't want that to happen because y'all do say some pretty messed up stuff, and y'all do some pretty messed up stuff. Leave ours alone. Since they want to make it us versus them, let's make it completely us versus them. Mills had faced an ethics committee review over alleged coercive conduct involving an ex-girlfriend, though he denies the claim. He noted that he would accept a censure vote, and Democrats have paused their measure. Addressing Mace, Mills said, what would have happened if you shared the video of you condemning President Trump over J6 for free speech? Mills added, and so if reminding someone of their own remarks is a threat, well, then that means everyone threatens each other every day to remind someone, hey, you voted for this, and you did this, and you voted for this. Mills said, this is typical. I'm sorry, but like, I respect Nancy. I like Nancy. I've always supported Nancy, he added, but she's upset that she didn't get one thing passed because she has some back and forth with Ilhan that has nothing to do with me. And that's exactly what's going on. Each time they can't get their way, and think, oh, I must punish you in the worst way and act like you're the most tyrannical person ever. Yeah, let's not do that. Okay? Let's get back to doing the actual work. You applied for this job, you raised the money, you campaigned, you do the job. Stop doing all these theatrics and putting in so much energy and effort to avoid work. Just a thought. Just a wee little thought. You know? Just saying. I don't know why this next one is not loading. And in regards to the part 6 of 107 days from Kamala Harris, it is still downloading. It takes a little while, but as soon as it is done downloading, hopefully by the time I close out here, I will have it up and ready for you. So, trying to get this next article to pop up. I don't know what the glitch is here. Alrighty. Okay, coming from the Associated Press. From all over the planet, they came to the UN with a message: fix things, particularly yourself. We briefly got into this on today's episode of the Taz Effect, so we're going to get into it a little bit more here. It's not polite, as a general rule, to visit your host and criticize the way they do things, unless, that is, you're helping to pay the rent. World leaders have spent the past week at the United Nations doing just that, convening at its grandiloquent headquarters to tell each other and those who administer the planet's most prominent global institution that the foundational pillars are cracked, outdated, and not in good working order. Some version of this happens every year. It's part of the overall theater. Leaders point out the UN's flaws and tell it to buckle down and get things done. Then, At the end of speeches, they congratulate themselves for doing important work and go home saying, effectively, good talk, and the conversation pauses for a year. Yet, in recent years, as the United Nations increasingly becomes one of its members' favorite subjects at the General Assembly, a particular turn of the phrase has been emerging from world leaders' mouths more and more aimed at the UN itself. It, it can be mapped sort of like this: we need you, we support you, but, and here's the thing, most of the representatives at the UN work to do what's best for humanity and humanitarian efforts. We know the United States and Israel just enjoy standing on the wrong side of history and being contrarian. And there needs to be safeguards and there needs to be things done where the United States and Israel don't carry as much weight as they do. And people can stop coming for the pomp and circumstance and then nothing get done, because we're seeing a world where certain things shouldn't be happening due to the existence of the United Nations. And this year, the Secretary General, Antonio Guterres himself, setting the bleak and critical tone after his team proposed major reforms for the institution's 80th anniversary. The critiques from dozens of nations as they address this August assembly feel even more prominent and pointed than usual. Two particularly sharp comments this past week draw the notion out in stark relief. We must ask ourselves today how the UN how has the UN lived up to expectations? And just look at the state of the world, said Subramaniam Jaishankar, India's foreign minister. Where has the UN actually made a difference? And from Amara Kamara, the foreign minister of Guinea, the best years of our shared organization may be behind us. Can this truly be the case? A pervasive sense that the UN isn't living up to potential. Much of the criticism focuses on the UN generally not getting things done and bending a knee to what Terence Michael Drew, the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, called the large and the loud, while effectively muzzling multiple smaller, quieter nations and thus undermining its mandate of multilateralism. But there are specific recurring complaints as well. Among them, inequitable representation on the UN Security Council, where Africa has a particular beat. For 3 decades, it has been calling for a permanent veto empowered seat on the Security Council, which has only 5 permanent members while other nations rotate. Each year, African leaders express frustration about being treated with what Botswana President Duma Boko called affable indifference. We must free the Security Council from this humiliating paralysis, said Mohammed Hassan, Malaysia's foreign minister. Reform is no longer a choice, it is imperative. And hey, Spark Butts, here's the thing. I need you all to ask yourself, if you truly believe that racism is a thing of the past, why are brown nations eliminated or muffled everywhere? Hmm? Now, unless you're under a rock, even if you're not into sports, a lot of people tune into the Super Bowl, one for the commercials, which have been lackluster in the past few years, and for the halftime show. A lot of people set alarms just to watch the halftime show, and then they go on about their business. Last Super Bowl, we had Kendrick Lamar. Yes. Upcoming Super Bowl 60, I believe, we're going to have Bad Bunny. Now, there are a lot of non deconstructing, fully practicing Euro American white people, especially white women, who have been complaining about this. And a few of them have been like, well, what about Taylor Swift? Why didn't you get Taylor Swift? Why do you ask Taylor Swift? She's coming off of a great concert. So is Beyonce. So are a lot of artists. But to answer your question about the pop superstar and recently engaged Taylor Swift, coming from Cleveland.com, pop superstar turns down chance to perform at halftime of Super Bowl. Did she really turn it down, or did she give make it or break it uh, requirements, demands, if you will? And they were like, "Oh, we're not doing that shit. So break it. Bye, Booski." Taylor Swift is the biggest music star in the world right now. No, she's not. No, she's not. Stop lying. The biggest star right now is Bad Bunny, who they got to do on the stage. Coming in at a close second is Beyonce. Taylor Swift doesn't have the reach or the influence or the global power that, but you know, whatever. And a performance by her at the Super Bowl likely would be a ratings bonanza for the NFL. No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. Taylor Swift has a very, very specific audience. She does not have a whole lot of crossover. And no, I'm not downgrading or downplaying her, but there are certain people that their audience is very specific. There's no one really outside of their audience. So the average person isn't just going to be able to watch and bop along with it and know what's going on. And Taylor Swift, kind of like Adele, you have to know a little bit about their life to understand their music. And if you don't, you're not going to get it. Taylor Swift makes music for the girlies that get it. That's not a dig. That's not shade. That's the truth. It is the truth. There are some artists that if you don't know things about their life, their music isn't going to resonate with you. If you don't live a certain lifestyle, their music isn't going to resonate with you. That's not a bad thing. It's not. But it does limit some opportunities for those artists. Like I've told many of poets, especially spoken word artists over the years, if you can only write and perform, quote unquote, in your own voice, you're going to hit a cap. If you can't tap into, the voice of this type of person or that type of person or somebody from here, you're going to hit a cap. Because even as an individual, you're only going to have so many life experiences that you can talk about from your perspective. You got to get outside of it if you want to grow your audience and not get stale. So Swift reportedly walked away from talks with the NFL about performing at Super Bowl 60 on February 8th at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, California, when the league refused to accept a key demand from the pop singer. Told you. Like sometimes you can get a little too big for your britches. Taylor, learn a lesson from Delulu, J-Lo. It has to be all this color and all that. J-Lo, Miss Mamas, I don't know if anybody has found it or can find it, but I'm old enough to remember when you were interviewed, when you were starring in the movie Selena, and Mary Hart, the interview was on Entertainment Tonight, asked you if you would ever release an album, had you ever considered singing, and you said you couldn't sing. That was the last time you was honest about your talents. Girl. Anywho, Rob Shooter reports Swift wanted, and I quote, to retain ownership of her performance and secure slots promoting her own projects. But the NFL, which used to axe performing for free at the Super Bowl in order to get exposure, refused to demand, Shooter reports. Exactly, because a lot of these people would use a performance at the Super Bowl to like let people know that they're about to kick off a tour, that they're about to have a residency in Vegas, or that they've completed a residency in Vegas, that they have a new project coming out, that they're launching a new clothing line or line of perfume or cosmetics or something, or to remind people, hey, I ain't dead. But leave it to Taylor Swift to try to out capitalist the ultimate capitalist. Like the NFL still uses the practices of the slave market for the draft. And you want to come in there and talk about you want to retain ownership of your performance and secure slots promoting your products. Girl, you better pay for ad space like everybody else. This is the cash cow for the NFL. We all know this. We all know this. Girl, you should have tried to be. See, this could have been your time. You could have brought in Ice Spice. You could have mixed it up. You could have showed people like, hey, I know y'all heard about me hiring IDF, and I unfunctified my fiance. We'll see if we're gonna be like forever engaged, like Oprah and Stedman, or if we actually walk down the aisle. I ain't figured out how that narrative gonna go yet. But hey, I could show y'all that, I'm not a pedo anymore, and I'm not a racist anymore on camera. You didn't do that. You could have went triple platinum in multiple living rooms. You could have expanded your fan base. I suggest not trying to dance no more, but hey, just get you a nice little Mariah two-step, okay? Just actually don't even step. Mariah got the little like rock on beat. Just stand there, rock on beat. Have the men's get them oiled up and dance around you. Like Mariah, she learned that. Or get you like Miss Patty, okay? Just kick your shoes off and chill in one spot. Get you a chair and be beautiful, okay? But you and the whole dance thing, no, and stop trying to copy Beyonce with the leotards. You don't have a leotard body. It is cool. I don't got a leotard body either. Okay? We got some good jeggings, legging, yoga pants bodies. Okay? We can rock that. What did Miss Aretha tell you? Beautiful gowns, girl. Put on a beautiful gown and stand there and sing about all of your heartbreak. Okay? Get your heartbreak hotel going in your good teenager voice. But you done lost your ever-loving damn mind. Girl. She doesn't need the Super Bowl, a source tells Shooter, but the Super Bowl absolutely needs her. No, they don't. No, they don't. Who said have y'all not seen the iconic performances that the Super Bowl has had? And let's not forget, the only reason we have Super Bowl performances is because of Black people. And before you got tons of instruction, you try to credit Black people with everything. Because without Black people, you wouldn't have nothing. Black people are everything. But I digress. Y'all remember In Living Color? You remember. The reason why, and most of us are older than Super Bowl halftime performances like what we have now, because usually they get like some band, college or high school to come out and do a little 1-2 step and keep it pushing. It's because In Living Color was like, hey, this is the perfect opportunity to let people know that we exist, get some ratings up. They did so good that people did not tune back in for the second half of the Super Bowl. So the Super Bowl was the NFL was like, well, wait a minute. How do we retain the audience and they don't ever go anywhere else? Because these Negroes got us fucked up. If Negroes are going to captivate the nation, it's going to be the Negroes that we employ. We done had Whitney Houston in a nylon tracksuit shut it down just by singing the national anthem, baby. Shirley Ralph reminded people that she's one of the OG Dream girls by singing the Black national anthem, okay? Rihanna done shut it down. Michael Jackson done shut it down. Beyonce done shut it down. Girl, go lay down. The fuck you mean the Super Bowl needs Taylor Swift? First of all, name one white performance that was iconic that people still go back and watch to this day that was on the Super Bowl. And I'm talking about a white performance with no collaboration. Like you saw this white artist, you was like, yeah, damn, I got to be there to watch this. Not looking forward to their collaborations. All I'm gonna say is Taylor Swift, anybody come to see you, Otis, you're not selling the records. But thank you for moving out the way so the person who does sell the records could get up and through. Thank you. Prince made it rain. Prince made it. Boom. There you have it. Don't nobody need. Once again, it is okay to be a fan of somebody. Fine. But if you're going to be a fan, you have to be honest in your fandom. You are not going to make your favorite better by lying to them or about them. And there are a lot of fandoms out here because the Swifties are not the only ones that do this. The Barbs do it too. You make your favorites lazy and complacent, and you cause them to take away from their own talents when you lie. All of this, they need no. You sound like those sick parents that tell these entitled incels, these individuals that have grown up to be incels, that she doesn't know what she's missing. You are the prize. Any girl would be lucky to have you. You were the bee's knees. Nobody's better than you. Meanwhile, this motherfucker still is 32 and can't wipe his own ass or cut up his own meat. The fuck? No. Taylor Swift knows that she needs assistance to sell anything. This is why all of a sudden she was making nice with Beyonce and popping up here and there and that. Come on, the girl knows how to, she knows how to play the game. I give it to her. Overall, businesswoman. Kudos. Love it. Girl boss with the sauce. But come on. Like this girl already used the NFL for free publicity through her relationship with Travis Kelce. Because if you think that they're the only co-celebrity couple, no, there are plenty of female celebrities dating NFL stars that you don't know when they're. Simone Biles is married to a man in the NFL. You never know when she's at the game sliding through until you go to her social media. And isn't it ironic that Travis Kelce wasn't at none of Taylor shit, not at a Grammys, not at nothing. Because she's like, oh no, you're not taking away from me. Like, no, you don't have to sit there and lie. The NFL needs Taylor Swift. No. The NFL is not the core fan base for the NFL is not love-struck teenage girls and middle-aged women who have not mentally matured past their teenage years. Taylor Swift's fan base is still stuck in high school. They're the ones that are still to this day during prom season posting their prom pics. They're the ones that are living their life as if they were on MTV's Teen Mom and every Friday night with their friends at the bar is their reunion show. Who's connecting with that? Like, let's be real. Regardless of your gender, and yes, people tune in on TV to watch. But let's look at the people who are buying tickets to be at the game. Let's talk about the people who have saved up, some of them for years, in the hopes that their favorite team will be in the Super Bowl and they want to physically be there. Or they find out that the Super Bowl is going to be close enough to where they live that they could take a day trip and go. The diehard football fans that have to be in the stadium to endure that. These are all of the things you have to consider, and they can try to make it seem as if the final decision came down to Taylor Swift. But what do we learn with the whole Kendrick Lamar? I knew this because I've had friends that lived in cities where the Super Bowl was being hosted. So I've known this for a while, but people got to learn this last year. What did we learn? The city votes on who's going to perform. So y'all can spend this however you want for Taylor Swift. But regardless of what she demanded, they said this is going to be in Santa Clara. Santa Clara wanted Bad Bunny. Just like Nolans wanted K-Dot. let's not forget, y'all can spend this however you want for Taylor Swift. And here's the thing, y'all, when it comes to Taylor Swift stands and Nicki Minaj stands, y'all could avoid embarrassing your favorite by keeping your fucking mouth shut. Because sometimes y'all talk about missed opportunities for them that you shouldn't be talking about. You should have just let it slide. Nobody needed to know. Because you can have all this discourse, but at the end of the day, don't forget the people vote. Oh yeah, Cardi about to take that spot. And here's the thing. Cardi and Stefan have been to NBA games, all sorts of stuff. And Cardi has been known to be low key because I've peeped her and her sister at games that if you go to their social media, if you come across them, you're like, wait a minute, that looks like they're at a game. Would not know because they're not there. Like they're there to have a good time. They are there to enjoy. You can tell these are two New York girlies who had a bucket list like one day I'm going to be able to go here. And that's just what they want to do. They want to go and have a good time. But Cardi is the same one that tells you she still goes grocery shopping. She still goes to the dollar store. Like, yeah, she got a little coin to do X, Y, and Z, and she wants to do that. And she wants to enjoy it. She definitely wants to give her kids a better life. But yeah, let's see, Cardi. Woo, yes. And I'm here for it. And people that are like, she had, and for the podcaster, instead of going, oh, it's such bad timing to have a child. Who said that she planned this baby? Oopsies happened. Okay. And she's in a good place. She's in love. They obviously sat down and had a conversation because she's well past the question zone to be able to let people know. And she belly fully popped. Okay. But they had a conversation and they decided to do this. And to say, oh, but you're scheduled to do this and that. It's her job. No different than if she worked at 7-Eleven. No different than if she worked for Procter & Gamble, General Electric, or Amazon. She would still have to get up and go do these things. Y'all need to stop acting as if being an artist isn't a job. Like y'all want to criticize, it's bad timing. She has to go and do this and the baby in her body. But you don't have that same vigor for the women who have to give birth and then get up and go take their finals before the doctors have even told them that they could be cleared and released from the hospital. They have to sign themselves out, whether their children are good to go or not. With my oldest son, I had to get back to school, and he had to stay in the NICU for a couple days. So I would stay overnight, shower in the little shower area that they had at the children's hospital. They had some tunnels, which was cool. It's connected to my university, and I could, maneuver back and forth. You don't think about the women who are uterus bearers, the birthing individuals who don't have maternity leave, who don't have parental leave. That they get 3 to 5 days tops on a doctor's note, and then they have to be back to work. You're not sitting there telling them not to have children. But a woman of means, you're going to criticize her. But you didn't have that for Sierra. And no, I'm not saying you should go and criticize any of these women. You cannot say my body, my choice when you're trying to govern a woman's body no different than anybody else. Let's do better. Let's do better. Now we're gonna get into Hexath and all of that. But baby, take a look at this, and then we're gonna talk about it on the other end. Cause I don't even know how to prepare y'all for that. Just take a look.
It's like I keep saying, Charlie's.
What stage of grief is this?
You've been through what the team has been through. To see, it's like I keep saying, Charlie's almost sprinkling his little Charlie Kirk magic dust on everything, yeah. And I'm like 100x.
I feel them. All of them matter, and we will never be silenced. Amen. We will never be silenced. Amen. And that's why continuing his platform in a beautiful, honorable way.
How are you going to continue his platform? Because he thought the only place for women was at home, being wives and mothers and personal chefs and maids. And I see you got less makeup. Are you trying to look like one of the girly pops on campus, huh? Are you going to start doing debates on campus? Jesus Christ.
We'll reinforce that we will never be silenced.
Well, let's take a quick break. I'm not going to promise that she's still going to be here, but maybe she will be.
I want to talk about Erica Kirk. To go from this...
That young man. I forgive him.
To this...
Charlie, we're best friends. We joked around that. Oh, I know. We joked around that he was the favorite. You will be the Rush Limbaugh of your generation.
That is not a flex. That is not a compliment. That is a threat. That is an insult. Did you like him? I don't feel like you liked him. I don't. Oh, good grief. You know what? Charlie is getting ridden and getting way more attention than he ever got in life and death. Like oh Lord, they just dick riding him. Now, that's sad. Let that be a lesson in sales. They gonna dick ride you when you're in the grave. Like they.
In less than a couple of weeks is unheard of for a widow, especially when the parameters of your partner's death were as gruesome and as detailed as they were. She has positioned herself to be the figurehead for whatever white nationalist movement is being had right now. I never want to agree with people, but the fact that I'm agreeing with Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens is really fucking scary.
Didn't your husband just get his face blown off like 2 seconds ago? And not to be insensitive about it, but everyone's thinking it. I'm going to say it. I think it's super inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's weird. It's bizarre. Something is off there, and I don't like it. But they're doing the Super Bowl commentators with the headsets on, doing a media table. They're selling merch, registering voters. They got pyrotechnics. Is this WrestleMania or is this a funeral? Like, what are we doing here? And then, the day after the funeral, I'm getting 500 texts and emails. Erica Kirk here. I miss him. Every time I blink, every beat of my heart. Make sure to donate. $5, $15, $25. It's like, okay.
And I'm not trying to dictate how a widow grieves. I'm not trying to dictate how anyone grieves. But when we've seen public figures die, we haven't seen their wives in months or years, to be honest. But you, in less than 2 weeks, are at this Kirkchella with the president, with beams and lights and performances and fake tears and being nuzzled by a weird old man, to now being on the podcast laughing and joking about tweeting as if you were him and how many episodes you're going to do. It is really fucking strange. That's all I'm going to say. If anybody out there is a widow or a widower, or you've lost a spouse, you can attest that this is very, very, very strange.
She had full hair and makeup. to go and meet her husband's body that was being flown in on Air Force Two. She was mic'd up and had a professional photographer when she went to go view his body. From his podcast studio, just as his body was starting to chill, she addressed the nation. Couldn't get a tear to fall. Not a representative of hers, not asking for privacy, no nothing. The memorial service spent 2 to 3 business minutes actually addressing him. There were really no photos of him, just the Turning Point USA logo. Everybody was, for the most part, marketing themselves, marketing their position, like vying for attention. His parents were not there. His siblings not there. Not a cousin, not an aunt, nothing. And all this time, let's just say they were estranged and maybe they were on the outs. Maybe they were secretly separating or about to separate. I don't know. Where are the children and who are helping these children through this? Now, I don't know how extensive his travel schedule was, if the family ever traveled with him, if the children even notice his absence at this point, because it's possible. It is possible. But who's with the children? And no, I'm not saying, oh, because she's a mother, she's the surviving parent. There have been people who have lost their spouses in not such a public manner that to this day we have not heard from them publicly, not them themselves. After a few weeks, a statement was released, but that was it. She is grifting off of his name and expeditiously rewriting and revising what Turning Point stood for and what Charlie's legacy was. She is allowing things to unravel out of control very irresponsibly. And like I stated, I noticed the change in her makeup. Not so much heavy makeup, more of a college look. The not so perfect hair, a little bit, let the skin look a little puffy. Because there's certain things you can put on your face that'll reduce the puffiness. Those that wear makeup and things like that, you know what I'm talking about. Give it the, I just rolled out of bed. I'm a little late for class. Look, like, are you about to start doing debates? And what will your debates be centering around? And how are you able to step into the podcast studio so quickly? Like, no morning, no nothing. Yeah, absolutely. They do have to keep the grift going. Like, there's nothing subtle about white supremacist grifters. Nothing. And she has the eugenics look that they love. She does. But let us not forget about Miss, I don't care if I have 0 followers, to turn around and start buying followers. So I would suggest that if you are on TikTok and you, whether you followed her previously, never heard of her, check your following list or type in the name Hannah Brown to see if you have been bought to follow her. Because a lot of people think that when people buy followers, they're just getting bots. Yeah, that was in the early days of buying followers. Basically, it just forces people into following somebody. And you may not know, especially if you're already following quite a few people. You may not know one or two added to your following list. You may not think about it. And if you're somebody like me, you're probably not even looking at the count of how many that you're following. Let's take a look at a video that's caused a little bit of a stir online.
Right. This is the only time I'm ever going to address this. First of all, I am not MAGA. I was not at a MAGA rally. I went to a memorial for Charlie Kirk, a man who was brutally assassinated in front of thousands of people, a man who has a wife and children who will never get to see him again, and despite our differing beliefs, a man who did not.
Everybody who is murdered has a family. I don't know if y'all know that or not. And having a wife and a family doesn't mean that your wife or family likes you. Like, do y'all forget the 50 million times a day that people have to tell us how they're no contact, low contact, semi mixture of no and low contact with folks? Okay. Just checking.
Not deserve to die. I don't agree with a lot of what Charlie believed.
You don't agree with a lot of what do you agree with? And if it's not MAGA, why is it MAGA red?
I think that means he should be shot and killed.
I don't think that because I'm black, I should be shot and killed either, but y'all don't have this energy when a black person is just existing and we're shot and killed. Y'all didn't have this energy when your own little white babies were shot and killed praying to Jesus. You didn't have this energy with the 50 million jokes that Charlie Kirk and disparaging remarks Charlie Kirk had regarding George Floyd. He was a father. He had a family. His poor daughter still has to go to private school because grown adults keep harassing a child. And Hannah, dear Hannah, I did a little research on you. There was a black man who was shot on camera in front of his family. You didn't go to the vigil for him. You didn't go to his memorial, but you drove 13 hours to sit front row to see Charlie Kirk. And I saw them repost of yours. You were reposting content that was equating Charlie Kirk to Jesus Christ. So I don't think that you just agreed with a few of the things. I think you agreed with all of the things, and you think that Jesus is Kenny Loggins' twin and is a white supremacist. Oh, are you in for a rude awakening? I don't think you're going to be selling too much music, girly pop, but maybe you can team up with Tom McDonald or Forgiano Blue, since y'all still ain't realized he got some melanin, but okay.
No, and if you disagree with that, we truly have nothing in common.
Yeah, we don't. You are MAGA red, and you sound a whole lot like all of the Karens in your video. Are you letting us know that in the skits, you were really the Karen? You were really the drama?
So disturbed last Wednesday when I opened TikTok and had to watch the video of him being assassinated.
Why did you have to watch it? Why did you have to watch it? Nobody forces anybody to watch any content. I do the news daily. I have yet to hear a story of there being a group of people breaking into people's houses or kidnapping them on the street and forcing them to watch content. You don't have to watch it. Like, if you were sitting there scrolling and you heard about, because even if you're not into the news, alerts went out on everything. People that I know that intentionally tried to avoid the news because of the stress of their job knew about what happened to Charlie Kirk. It got pushed through everywhere. So you could have just avoided everything that had to do with Charlie Kirk. And on that day, I get all sorts of news alerts, videos sent to me. It was very late in the day when a mutual posted the video with a huge trigger warning on it. And given that so many descriptions had come out, you could have scrolled past. But, okay, Mrs. Krabs.
And even more disturbed when I opened the comments and all of them were celebrating and rejoicing his death.
Who was celebrating and rejoicing his death? Y'all keep saying this stuff, just like y'all claim, and we now know it was, well, we knew then it was a lot, but that people were celebrating the killing of Palestinian children. The only ones doing that were the IDF and the IOF and Zionists. But y'all claimed that it was black women. Now you're like, oh yeah, they're so happy. Who? People weren't sad and crying over it because Charlie spoke his death into existence. Now, there were some people who had some harsh comments, and there's some people who went to the gutter with the comments because instantly we black folks started getting attacked. Before we even had a moment to grasp what was going on, we were getting attacked. I was live on the air for the Taz Effect, right? And I was correcting people and telling fans of Charlie Kirk and Turning Point USA not to jump the gun, not to put disinformation out there, to wait for confirmation on things. Because 2 seconds in, they had declared this man dead. They immediately gave up on him. That's why I find it laughable now that they're trying to paint him as a saint. And I'm like, you motherfuckers killed him before we even knew he was dead. Before it was even confirmed that the bullet hit him. Because first the story was shots were fired at his event. We didn't know if anybody got hit. And I said, hey, wait for the information. Got confirmation that he was shot. I said, let's give all of a sudden, I was all sorts of monkeys, N-words, everything you can name. For me saying, hey, wait a minute. Let's not put this on nobody. Let's wait for what's confirmed. His own people had decided he was just dead. And they were happy to tell the news that he was dead. In my own comment section, I watched people. I got confirmation on this, and I just know it. They were the ones that were happy. Like, I think white people forget how sick white people can be. Oh yeah, Jay, she's definitely mad at Karen. Oh yes, Sabrina, yeah, because it gets crazy. Like, I'm not a fan of Charlie Kirk, but I am a fan of accuracy and truthfulness. And words have meaning. And I am a firm believer that what you speak into the universe can come true and will be delivered to you. But the guilty conscience of fans of Charlie Kirk and white supremacists being so quick to lie and just flat out say that this man was dead, then trying to push it off onto us? Absolutely not. Y'all wanted his ass dead. It's benefiting you all that he's dead. Y'all are making money off of his death. Where is this smoke for the man who took the merchandise drenched with Charlie Kirk's blood? And last I heard, he was selling it on eBay. I don't know if he got shut down. Also, where's the smoke for the guy who got caught on camera taking the memory card out of the camera that was behind Charlie Kirk at the time of his death? Y'all want justice for Charlie Kirk? I want justice for every victim of gun violence, okay? Why aren't y'all looking for that person? Why don't you have smoke for him? No, y'all consistently want to lie to make us the villains. HBCUs being attacked, not just people calling in bomb threats, but people showing up to antagonize students at HBCUs and then making videos calling these students violent and savage. And the only thing they know is stealing and savagery. Putting another target, putting them in danger on purpose. But you're sitting here lying? Look, clam chowder, I'm going to need you to sit the fuck down, shut the fuck up, and stop using vegetable oil as a tanning lotion. You're not fooling anybody. And this condescending bullshit that you're doing, oh, this is the day. This is the day that a cancel was made. That a cancel was dead. I love And I rejoice when y'all end up canceling yourselves. But let's continue to go on and hear what else she has to say.
I did not go to the memorial to align myself with any political views.
Yes, you did, because that was not a memorial. That was Kirkapalooza, okay? That was Klan Stock 2025. That's exactly why you went. You're not driving 13 hours for anything else. Okay? I had a cousin pass away. Tragically, unexpectedly. They changed the date of the funeral. I didn't go 4.5 hours because some fuck shit came out surrounding that death. And I wasn't going to align myself with that fuck shit. You went 13 fucking hours and made sure you were in the front of shit. You weren't in the standing room only section. You didn't stand in line for hours. You were on a list. You were VIP. I love when the stupid shaped think that the rest of us are stupid too. Trump said the intelligent, the educated don't like him. So why do y'all keep trying to outwit and outsmart us? You don't have the intellectual fortitude, darling. Oh, why me?
Or to make a political statement, I went to pay my respects to.
Girl, can you make a statement by getting a proper bra? Your shoulders hurt. You was out in there way too long, and you should not have put makeup on. You look, Mrs. Krabs. Look, okay. You're not supposed to match the Krusty Krab. But see, you was out there doing mega shit in the mega sun under them hot ass pyrotechnics, and you couldn't put a bra on. Okay.
A human that died, and everybody that is attacking me.
For a human that you didn't have no compassion for any other human that has died since you've had a TikTok account. You ain't said shit about any current event. Not one. There are other people who do skits as well that slip in commentary of the day into their skits. Very creative way, very down to earth, and it's a great way to educate people, to show them how activism works in real time, different things. You don't say shit. Not a damn thing. Ahmaud Arbery happened while you had a TikTok. Now, even though he wasn't shot and killed, Kilmar Borrego Garcia, husband, father, has a family. What's happening to him is egregious. Did you go in support of him? Did you send anything to help his wife and kids? Maybe his complexion or his ethnicity just, maybe it was hard for you to understand. You couldn't read the compassion because of the font it was in. Okay.
For going to a memorial, really listen to that and think how insane that sounds. A man was murdered. Whether or not you agree with his political beliefs is so irrelevant, because truly, if you are against.
No, it's not irrelevant. It's not. It's not, because if I were to be gunned down right now, people would say that's what I get for my political beliefs and for me being so outspoken about it. And don't say, oh no, that wouldn't happen to us. I have been doxxed multiple times. Each time I've been public about the fact that I've been doxxed, because twice I have had to spend time away from my residence for my own protection. I have been told publicly, you had it coming. That's what you get. You should learn a woman's place. You shouldn't have been so vocal about it. When you're going to speak about politics, that's what you get. And human rights are not political. Humanity is not political. But okay, Leatherneck.
Against gun violence, which why would you not be? You cannot celebrate when someone you don't like gets shot.
But y'all do it all the time. Did you drive to the Uvalde Memorial? Sandy Hook? The most recent? The school shooting in Georgia, Colorado. After Kirkapalooza 2025, did you take a trip to Michigan? When the Black people were having Bible study and prayer meeting and were gunned down, did you drive down?
You are a hypocrite. So if you want to unfollow me, completely fine. I would rather have 0 followers than have hundreds of thousands of people that would celebrate the death of a man.
Nobody was celebrating, you fucking liar. Leathernisha, you thought that by saying this and straddling the fence, you would be able to keep some of your most faithful followers, and you thought that you were going to have a Mama Tot invasion and gather more followers. You should have learned something from Ophelia. When you straddle the fence, MAGA will turn on you quicker, and they will make your numbers dwindle. And you do care about your following because you are trying to have a singing career. You're not the only person putting out skits that also makes music. I will never understand y'all wanting people to get into your music, but unless they truly know how to navigate the apps, they wouldn't find your music or even know that you are a musician. Like maybe put out some videos. But anywho, that's why you're buying followers. You do care. And that is always a kiss of death when people go, oh, I'd rather have 0 followers. I don't care. You do care. Nobody is out here making content for nobody to view it. And especially someone like you that has spent so much time getting to the point where whether you fully sustain yourself or not, you have an income. You have an income due to social media. Now, real quick, I'm just going to touch on this a little bit tonight. We'll get more in depth on this tomorrow on the Taz Effect. Hegseth gets frank feedback as military's highest ranking officer balks at new strategy. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is proposing a new national defense strategy and is running into a wave of opposition that includes Donald Trump's handpicked choice as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. According to a report from the Washington Post, when Hegseth meets with the U.S. Armed Forces leadership at the highly controversial gathering at a Marine base in Quantico, Virginia on Tuesday, his new proposal to reorder the Pentagon's priority is casting a cloud over the meetup. Let me explain to y'all what occurred today. Now, am I shocked by these new rules that Pete Hegseth is handing down? No, because Tazzy Farms remembers the fact that Pete Hegseth publicly said multiple times he does not believe that war crimes are a thing. He also publicly bragged multiple times about during his time in the military how he ignored direct orders. He just pretty much did his own thing. Now, people can put hands on recruits. They're changing the way that you can report things. You cannot you one and done when it comes to reports. You can't report somebody again. And then they're like, oh, we're going to loosen things and suspend a couple of things because we know mistakes can happen. So there's going to be a period of time where people can do what the fuck they want to do to people in the military. The new standards will be based upon what men can do. So if a woman can't meet those standards, she's out of the military. Whoop-de-doo, according to Whiskey Leaks. And it's MAGA or retire. We are primed for the picking. We are primed for the picking. Much needed standards are being lowered after generations of telling people that it's the melanated folks that are getting pushed through and aren't being held to the same standards as everybody else. So you need to be weary if they're in a position. They're in certain positions. And we are intentionally dwindling our numbers. We don't have enough people handling national and international security. We don't have any real intelligence going on. We haven't secured anything in the name of security. We are having people do sweeps of neighborhoods, dozens upon dozens of ICE agents that now include U.S. Marshals, IRS agents, CIA, FBI agents, local sheriffs, you name it. Walking neighborhoods doing all this stuff. It is like getting guard dogs that are impeccably trained. Excuse me. Getting the best firearms, stocking up on the ammunition, getting the latest, greatest, most technologically advanced security system for your home, not paying the electric bill, putting all the ammunition in a safe, taking the keys to the safe and putting them in your desk at work, and keeping the dogs gated in a corner in the backyard. And then one day acting shock when your house is completely emptied out and taken over by somebody else. But this is America. Always caught slipping up. Always. But, per usual, thank you for joining me here for Conversations with Taz. Talk About It Tuesday. I will see you all tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central for the Taz Effect, daily news in a way that you didn't know you could use. Daily news with historic context and miscellaneous commentary. I will see you all again on Thursday for Think About It Thursday. Yep, we're getting back to our great regular schedule. And I will also see you all tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 Eastern. Sorry, it's still messed up, going back and forth between time zones. For learning through Black literature, still going through 107 whole days. Kamala Harris. And the first 5 parts right now are up. They're all in a playlist. Part 6 is still downloading. When it's done, I will get it uploaded onto here. But as always, each one teach one, each one reach one. I will see you all later. Go out, get into some good trouble. But remember, nothing, and I mean nothing, that requires bail in this economy. Be good.